Rob, Susan a minute ago brought up the MSNBC incident where Matthew Dowd just said some despicable stuff about how hateful comments result in hateful actions. And hours later, MSNBC, I'm sure after really thinking it through, like, can we hope that this goes away, announced it says this is the Rebecca Cutler, who is the, by the way, they put this out just so everyone understands how they did this, the weasel way they did it. There's an MSNBC account and then there's an MSNBC PR account. The MSNBC account has 5 million followers. The MSNBC PR account has tens of, 30,000, I think. So they did this intentionally, and it says, this is Rebecca Cutler, the president of MSNBC. During our breaking news coverage of the shooting of Charlie Kirk. Like, in other words, this was a hastily thing. Like, they're trying to set the playing field. That it was confusion. Matthew Dowd, who's a longtime strategist, so, I get you're trying to show that it was confusing at the time, but this is a guy who knows what he's doing, made comments that were inappropriate, insensitive, and unacceptable. We apologize for statements, as has he. There's no place for this. Full stop. I think that then, an hour or two later, they announced that he had parted ways with them, which is, you got fired in TV world. And it was like, I felt like they were trying to see if they could just get away with this and not have to deal with it by minimizing it, checking a box. I think it was just so overwhelmingly over the top.
It was over. And let's remember the other incident that happened on MSNBC. I mean, moments after the news first broke, where a commentator said that somebody may have been firing a gun off in celebration, as if that's what you do on a college campus during a TPUSA event. I mean, it was just obnoxious. It goes to show how out of touch they are with reality, and they live in their bubbles, and they probably have no conservative friends. And this is exactly what happens in the case of Matthew Dowd when you make insensitive comments like that. And so on the one hand, yes, I'm glad to see that there's some accountability. I don't know that somebody would lose their job if we didn't live in the type of an environment now where people are demanding that level of accountability, Sean. But at the same time, the insensitive comments that you heard across numerous media platforms, including social media, where it was just the most vile and hostile. You even saw this play out on the floor of the U.S. House of Representatives following the moment of silence that Speaker Johnson gave for Charlie Kirk. And then you had members, who were debating on the left with some on the right, over whether or not it was appropriate to say a prayer. So I was disappointed in all of their behavior yesterday. I thought it was certainly unbecoming of leaders, people who hold themselves up to be leaders of various institutions. And I can only hope that people will look to the things we've talked about with Charlie and the inspiration that he served for so many young people to really model his behavior. And Susan is absolutely right about this that we've experienced. And I'm hopeful that people will recognize that this is an ever-present threat. Just because Elon Musk owns X today doesn't mean that the other social media platforms or other outlets are necessarily going to always move in that direction. And as Hayley made the point, as it pertains to the enthusiasm perhaps among conservatives, Charlie played an instrumental role in turning out young people for President Trump. And I think that it's to be seen whether or not that transpires in New Jersey or Virginia this fall. But I do know this, all of those chapters that he created will no doubt go on and carry out that legacy that he created.
Hayley, it wasn't limited to MSNBC. The number of morons that put, I don't even know how to, they were despicable comments about who was next or whatever. But there's a reporter down in Florida, AJ Karski, who is with Florida Politics. And he texted Congressman Randy Fine from Florida and said this: if gun control had been in play, could the tragedy have been avoided? If gun control had been in play, I honestly, apparently they've suspended that guy. Now, here's the thing. Not only is it inappropriate and offensive, it's downright stupid. Do you really think that an assassin goes, hey, you know what? I know I was going to commit multiple crimes, but there's a gun control issue about, because he was saying on campus if they were banned. I actually think that they should fire him for just stupidity, never mind the offensive nature and the timeliness of that question to Congressman Randy Fine.
Yeah, it's totally disgusting. And they jump at the chance to politicize it. And they think that conservatives are just going to go back on our viewpoints, that we believe in the First Amendment and the Second Amendment. Oh, they think that if they shoot President Trump and they shoot Charlie Kirk, that we'll just go back on everything we believe and we'll just say, oh yeah, here's our guns, take our guns. Absolutely not. If anything, this just radicalized people on the right to be even more strong in their beliefs and to carry on the torch of Charlie Kirk. And to your point about that reporter being fired, thank goodness. Not enough has been done at MSNBC in my perspective. I believe that everyone at MSNBC that was in charge of that broadcast needs to be fired. It is not enough to just let Matthew Dowd go. Katie Tur was complicit in all of this. And honestly, if you work in a newsroom type situation or a control room type situation, you know that there are many executives at MSNBC watching that broadcast, and you could have made a phone call to the control room. You could have made a phone call to the executive producer. Any producer with a backbone in that room could have gotten into Katie Tur's ear and said, shut this down. They did not.
Or by the way, not just shut this down, but to say, Matthew, that's inappropriate, hateful actions. I'm sorry, the idea, to your point, that you just let it go, unbelievable. But Susan, you mentioned Gavin Newsom, and at least he said something nice. Okay. And I get it, whether or not I don't want to judge. I know that Charlie was on his podcast, and who knows, maybe they struck up a friendship afterwards. But JB Pritzker's response, I'll just play it for everyone, because this isn't even, there's no question about this. Take a look.
My sympathy to Charlie Kirk's family and to Charlie Kirk, who obviously has, become a target for somebody. I don't know whether it's political violence, because I don't know who did it. I know they seem to have somebody in custody. But I will say that political violence, unfortunately, has been ratcheting up in this country. We saw the shootings, the killings in Minnesota. We've seen other political violence occur in other states. And I would just say it's got to stop. And I think there are people who are fomenting it in this country. I think the president's rhetoric often foments it. We've seen the January 6th rioters who clearly, have tripped a new era of political violence.
So, Susan, they can call him Hitler. Just the day before this happened, Brian Stelter on on CNN, he probably should be at MSNBC. He shouldn't be anywhere, actually, but was talking about how Charlie was a horrible person. And now, they literally, I don't know entirely what was in the mind of but the idea that somehow we don't know, come on, give me a break. Number two, you're going to blame this on the president after the left and everyone else has called not just Charlie, but everyone on the right, Hitler, despicable, deplorable, Haley, garbage, everything. I mean, I'm sorry. You're going to blame this on Trump now? This is insane. I get JB Pritzker wants to be president, but dude, that's not the appropriate time. And save your rhetoric for someone who cares.
That's exactly right. Just the night before, I was up 2 nights in a row really late because of these stories. The night before, we had a story about Code Pink protesters getting into a restaurant with President Trump and yelling epithets at him and calling him Hitler. I mean, this happened the night before. So, and we can get into the Secret Service issues with that, which were scary, right on display. But in terms of, the left blaming this on the Second Amendment, I had a well-known Politico reporter respond to a post on Facebook where I was saying, even my neighbors in California, of course, are connecting this to conservatives and Charlie Kirk support for the Second Amendment. And I thought to myself, that's just absurd. We don't know the motives of the shooter yet. Can you just let things play out a little bit, get some more information. Don't set up ignorant posts. JV Prickster, that's an ignorant comment. And I said to this political reporter who said, oh, but Charlie Kirk's own words are used against him because he supports the Second Amendment. And I said to this political reporter, I know you're just trying to be spiteful, but I think that even Charlie Kirk would still support the Second Amendment despite what happened, because he believes in the ability of people to protect their families, and deranged people will always get guns. A lot of conservatives, including Charlie Kirk, believe that mentally ill people should be committed. And he said, well, it's not spiteful. It's just ironic.
Right. By the way, this idea of the agenda is insane. Before I forget, though, I know this is a heavy show and a heavy topic, but we do have sponsors for these. And I apologize for the segue, but I will tell you that I want to thank them for sticking with us throughout the show. And one of them that has done some amazing work with people who are what they call weight cycling, going up and down, are the folks over at Lean. This is a great way for those people who know what I'm talking about. You've done juices and cleanses and cabbage soups diets and all of the other ones and tried. You've gone up and down. If you get it, it actually can be damaging to do that to your body, to your organs. You get diabetes, liver damage, heart attack, and stroke. Most people who have done this and dealing with this don't want to weight cycle. They want to actually find a way to get somewhere where they can maintain a healthy weight. Lean is, though, a great oral supplement. It's not an injectable. The science is impressible. It helps maintain a healthy blood sugar. It helps control appetite and cravings, and it burns fat by converting fat to energy. If you want a meaningful way at losing weight in a healthy way and keep it off, try Lean, add it to your diet, get 20% off when you go to takelean.com and enter code word Sean, SEAN, takelean.com. Before we get to the end of the show, though, I want to, again, I played that prophetic quote about the left and violence. Charlie was actually asked about how he'd want to be remembered. I want to play it for you real quick.
How do you want to be remembered?
I mean, if I die?
Everything just goes away. How would you, if you could be associated with one thing, how would you want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered for courage for my faith. That would be the most important thing. The most important thing is my faith in my life.
Charlie Kirk, thank you so much.
You
for
guys do a great job.
All right, guys. I got 30 seconds for each of you. I'll just say this. I think mission accomplished. He's known for his faith. He's known for standing and fighting for principle. And if everyone can go out of this world with that level of accomplishment, I think we would be proud of ourselves and what we've done. Hayley, your final thoughts?
Absolutely. Mission accomplished. I couldn't agree more. He is a fervent man of God, and he inspires so many to be the same way. And I would say this, keep your heads on a swivel, but do not be afraid to keep fighting, because Charlie would want us to do that.
Susan?
He has fought the good fight. He has won the race. His mission is done. He has a crown in heaven. So we will take up his mantle now, and he will have one of the best legacies he could have imagined. Absolutely mission accomplished.
Rob Bluey.
Yeah, I hope Charlie inspires others to turn to Jesus Christ and his teachings and all of the lessons that Charlie has taught all of us throughout his short life, 31 years, remarkably cut short, Sean. I pray for him and his family as he is in a different place today, and one that he is now before God, his God and our God. And thank you, Sean, for leading this conversation today. I can't think of a better way to honor such a man of dignity and grace than what you did.
Thank you. I will say, I came across a give, send, go for Charlie's family, for Erica, his wife, and his 2 kids. It's not going to be the next couple days are going to be killer for these guys. I can't imagine what they're going to go through, what Erica's going to deal with. But it's not just these 2 days, it's the next 20 years. These kids being raised without a dad, a father, having to look back on clips of their dad that they'll be very proud of, but won't ever take the place of him ever holding their hand again. So, my best to Charlie and his family. Thank you guys for being with us, and we'll be back here tomorrow.
Well, if you enjoyed this content, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and click the notification bell to get more.